Welcome to Bible Quiz Tube, Bible Trivia fans. Test your knowledge with today's Old Testament Bible quiz. 25 questions, 5 seconds each, 1 point per correct answer. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss our daily Bible quizzes. Share your score in the comments. Let the quiz begin. Question 1. How many Assyrians did the angel of the Lord kill in one night? A. 85,000. B. 120,000. C. 200,000. D. 185,000. You're on track. D. 185,000 is correct. The explanation. 2 Kings chapter 19 verse 35 records the devastating divine intervention following King Hezekiah's prayer against Sennacherib. That night the angel of the Lord went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. This single act of judgment destroyed the massive army threatening Jerusalem and saved the city without a battle, confirming God's immediate protection. Question 2. What was the specific reason God gave for Moses not entering the Promised Land, according to Numbers? Possible answers. A. He angered the people. B. He did not uphold God's holiness. C. He struck the rock twice. D. He disobeyed by speaking to the rock. Excellent. The answer is B. He did not uphold God's holiness. The explanation. Numbers chapter 20 verse 12 records God's judgment. Because ye believed me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land. Although Moses also struck the rock twice, disobedience, the core issue was his failure to display God's holiness and faithfulness in his anger, misleading the people about God's true nature and perfect instruction. Question 3. In Nathan's parable, what was the poor man's lamb to him? A. Like a daughter. B. His only wealth. C. Like a son. D. A family heirloom. The valid answer is A. Like a daughter. The explanation. 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 3 describes the lamb's intimacy. It was unto him as a daughter. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom. Nathan used this specific detail to expose the extreme cruelty of King David's theft of Uriah's wife, Bathsheba, showing David stole something cherished and unique, not merely a common possession. Question 4. Elijah declared the widow's oil and flour would last until what happened? Think carefully now. A. Her son came of age. B. The siege was lifted. C. The Lord sent rain. D. The famine ended. Well done. The answer is C. The Lord sent rain. The explanation. 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 14 records Elijah's precise promise. The barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. The miracle was explicitly tied to the end of the drought, linking God's provision for the widow and Elijah directly to the judgment of the land and the eventual fulfillment of the prophet's declaration of impending rain. Question 5. What was David holding when he first stood before Saul after killing Goliath? A. His sling. B. The Philistine's sword. C. The giant's head. D. Goliath's shield. Nice work, C. The giant's head is the right choice. The explanation. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 57 specifies the horrific trophy David carried. And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him, and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. This graphic detail confirms the absolute nature of David's victory and his fearlessness, introducing him to the court under the most dramatic circumstances possible. Question 6. Samson's riddle about the eater came from what he found in a lion's carcass. Test your Bible skills on this one. A. Honey. B. Bees. C. Meat. D. Water. The correct answer is A. Honey. The explanation. Judges chapter 14 verses 8 to 9 describes Samson finding a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. He took the honey and ate it, though touching a dead body violated his Nazirite vow, a fact only he knew. This provided the basis for his riddle. Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness, which later led to his wife's betrayal. Question 7. When Abraham interceded for Sodom, at what number did he stop pleading? A. 20 righteous. B. 1 righteous. C. 5 righteous. D. 10 righteous. The correct choice is D. 10 righteous. The explanation. Genesis chapter 18 verse 32 records Abraham's final plea to the Lord, asking if the city would be spared if only 10 righteous people were found there. The Lord agreed to this last request, but since 10 righteous were not found, and Lot and his family were safely extracted, the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. This illustrates God's deep mercy and commitment to saving the innocent. Question 8. What specific land did Caleb claim 45 years after spying Canaan? Select 1. A. Gilgal Plains. B. Hebron, home of giants. C. Valley of Jericho. D. Bethel's Heights. Outstanding. B. Hebron, home of giants is right. The explanation. Joshua chapter 14 verse 12 records Caleb's claim, "Now therefore give me this mountain, whereof the Lord spake in that day, for thou heardest in that day how the Anakims were there." Caleb, at age 85, requested the land of Hebron, notorious for its giant inhabitants, Anakim, demonstrating profound faith that God would empower him to conquer the strongest remaining territory. Question 9. In Gideon's second fleece test, what reversed condition did he ask for? A. Ground wet, fleece dry. B. Both wet. C. Both dry. D. Fleece wet, ground dry. Right on target. The answer is A. Ground wet, fleece dry. The explanation. Judges chapter 6 verse 39 details Gideon's final request. "Let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew." This reversed miracle, coming immediately after the first test, fleece wet, ground dry, provided Gideon with complete, irrefutable confirmation of God's intention to use him to save Israel, eliminating all remaining doubt in the prophet's mind. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 10. Joseph ruled Egypt under Pharaoh's command. What was his one limit? Dig deep into your Bible knowledge. A. No control over the army. B. Only Pharaoh's throne was above him. C. Couldn't enter the palace. D. No power in religion. Spot on. The correct option is B. Only Pharaoh's throne was above him. The explanation. Genesis chapter 41 verse 40 records Pharaoh's explicit decree to Joseph, "Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou." This established Joseph as the virtually absolute ruler of Egypt, second only to the monarch himself. This level of power ensured Joseph had the authority necessary to execute God's plan to save his family. Question 11. Where was Jeremiah thrown as punishment? A. A well. B. A vault. C. Muddy cistern. D. Prison. You've got this. C. Muddy cistern is correct. The explanation. Jeremiah chapter 38 verse 6 records that King Zedekiah allowed officials to throw the prophet Jeremiah into the dungeon of Malchiah, that was in the court of the prison, and they let down Jeremiah with cords. The text specifies there was no water in the cistern, but mire, mud, symbolizing the desperate depths of his suffering for proclaiming God's unwelcome message of judgment. Question 12. When the ark returned from Philistia, which men looked inside and died? A. The men of Beth-Shemesh. B. The men of Kiriath-Jearim. C. The priests of Shiloh. D. The elders of Gath. Keep it up. The right answer is A. The men of Beth-Shemesh. The explanation. 1 Samuel chapter 6 verse 19 records this severe judgment. When the ark was returned by the Philistines to Beth-Shemesh, some of the men sinned by presumptuously looking into it. The Lord killed 50,010 men for this transgression, demonstrating the extreme holiness of the ark and the strict requirement for reverent obedience and sanctification. Question 13. How long were Daniel and his friends tested on vegetables? A. 90 days. B. 10 days. C. 40 days. D. 30 days. Brilliant. Option B, 10 days, is spot on. The explanation. Daniel chapter 1 verse 12 records Daniel's proposal to the chief of the eunuchs. "Prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse vegetables to eat and water to drink." This short test period was required to prove that God's favor and sustenance, given through a diet obedient to Mosaic law, was superior to the rich royal food and wine offered in the Babylonian court. Question 14. Which of these was not part of the formal Nazirite vow according to Numbers 6? Time to shine. A. Not eating unclean animals. B. Not cutting hair. C. Not drinking wine or strong drink. D. Not touching or going near a dead body. A. Not eating unclean animals is the accurate choice. The explanation. The Nazirite vow, Numbers chapter 6 verses 2 to 8, required 3 specific prohibitions. 1. No wine or strong drink. 2. No cutting of hair. And 3. No contact with a dead body. The prohibition against unclean food, like pork, was general dietary law, not a unique component of the special sacred Nazirite vow. This tests the difference between general law and a specific vow. Question 15. After Naaman was healed of leprosy, what act demonstrated his conversion to faith in Israel's God? A. Dismissing his servants. B. Building an altar. C. Offering gold to Elisha. D. Requesting Israel's soil to take home. You're doing great. D. Requesting Israel's soil to take home is correct. The explanation. 2 Kings chapter 5 verse 17 records Naaman asking Elisha, "Give unto thy servant 2 mules' burden of earth." Naaman wanted to take Israel's soil back to Syria, so he could worship the God of Israel on holy ground, demonstrating a complete conversion and belief that God's power and sanctity were intrinsically tied to the land of Israel. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 16. Solomon's early wisdom first appeared in which episode? A. The Queen of Sheba's visit. B. The temple dedication. C. The 2 mothers dispute. D. His proverbs on ants. The expected answer is C. The 2 mothers dispute. The explanation. 1 Kings chapter 3 verses 16 to 28 details the dispute between 2 women over a living baby. Solomon used his famous method of threatening to divide the child to reveal the true mother's compassion. This incident immediately followed God granting him wisdom, 1 Kings chapter 3 verse 12, and was the first public demonstration of his unique divine gift, establishing his reputation throughout all Israel. Question 17. Which boy king began to seek God at age 16 and purged Judah of idols? Challenge your Bible IQ. A. Hezekiah. B. Joash. C. Uzziah. D. Josiah. You got it correct, D. Josiah. The explanation. 2 Chronicles chapter 34 verse 3 records that King Josiah, though crowned at age 8, in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, age 16, he began to seek after the God of David his father. This early devotion led to him systematically purifying Judah and Jerusalem of the idolatry that had plagued the kingdom, initiating the most profound national reform since David. Question 18. Which stone from David's sling struck Goliath? A. Fifth. B. First. C. Third. D. Second. B. First is the correct answer. The explanation. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 49 confirms the immediate success of David's faith. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead. This single perfectly aimed stone, delivered by divine power, immediately brought the giant down, demonstrating that the battle belonged to the Lord, and not to superior weaponry or human skill. Question 19. Nehemiah's final reform targeted which persistent offense? A. Sabbath breaking. B. Neglecting temple tithes. C. Mixed marriages. D. False prophecy. You're crushing it. C. Mixed marriages is right. The explanation. Nehemiah chapter 13 verses 23 to 27 details Nehemiah's severe opposition to the persistent problem of the Jews marrying foreign women who did not know God's language or law. This was Nehemiah's final, aggressive action to preserve the cultural and spiritual purity of the covenant community, arguing that mixed marriages directly threatened to lead the entire nation back into idolatry. Question 20. What shook during Isaiah's vision of the Lord's throne? Only true Bible fans will get this. A. The doorposts. B. The altar. C. The foundations. D. The veil. Superb. The answer is A. The doorposts. The explanation. Isaiah chapter 6 verse 4 describes the awe-inspiring intensity of the Lord's glory. The posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. This shaking of the temple doorposts confirmed the physical reality of the prophet's terrifying vision and the tangible presence of God's overwhelming holiness before the prophet cried out, "Woe is me, for I am undone," recognizing his own sinfulness. Question 21. Which king of Judah had his name changed by the king of Egypt? Test your knowledge. A. Jehoahaz from Shallum. B. Jehoiakim from Eliakim. C. Jehoiakim from Jeconiah. D. Zedekiah from Mattaniah. You're on track. B. Jehoiakim from Eliakim is correct. The explanation. 2 Kings chapter 23 verse 34 records that Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim the son of Josiah king in the room of Josiah his father, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. This name change was a political act, asserting Egyptian sovereignty and control over Judah after they deposed the previous king, highlighting Judah's reliance on foreign powers shortly before its final fall. Question 22. How many times did the Israelites march around Jericho on the seventh day? A. 13 times. B. 3 times. C. Once. D. 7 times. Excellent. The answer is D. 7 times. The explanation. Joshua chapter 6 verse 15 details the strict command for the final day. It came to pass on the seventh day that they rose early about the dawning of the day and compassed the city 7 times. The total number of circuits over the 7 days was 13, once per day for 6 days, and 7 times on the seventh day, but the final destructive march required 7 circuits. Question 23. Deborah told Barak the victory would not be his honor. Why did she prophesy this? A. The victory would come through a woman. B. Barak would be killed in battle. C. He would lose his military rank. D. His army would be defeated. The valid answer is A. The victory would come through a woman. The explanation. Judges chapter 4 verse 9 records Deborah's prophecy after Barak hesitated. The journey that thou talkest shall not be for thine honor, for the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. This prophecy ensured that the glory of defeating the mighty Canaanite general Sisera would go to Yael, fulfilling God's plan to humble the male military leader, Barak, due to his lack of initial faith. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 24. The 10 Commandments were written on stone by God's finger. What later act did this foreshadow? Think it over. A. The Messiah teaching from Mount Zion. B. The tablets replaced by covenant scrolls. C. The Spirit engraving the law on believers' hearts. D. The priesthood transferring to Aaron's sons. Well done. The answer is C. The Spirit engraving the law on believers' hearts. The explanation. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 3 contrasts the Old and New Covenants, explaining that believers are a letter of Christ, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not in tables of stone, but in fleshy tables of the heart. This new covenant reality, Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 3:3, means God's law is now an internal principle, reflecting a profound shift from external enforcement to spiritual transformation. Question 25. Before meeting Esau again, Jacob arranged his camp in a specific way. What order did he use? A. Servants first, then Leah, then Rachel and Joseph. B. Rachel first, then Leah, then servants. C. Children first, then wives, then livestock. D. Leah and Rachel together behind the flock. Nice work. A. Servants first, then Leah, then Rachel and Joseph is the right choice. The explanation. Genesis chapter 33 verses 1 to 2 details Jacob's strategic arrangement of his family, ordering them based on his perceived affection and desire for protection. He put the maidservants and their children first, then Leah and her children, and last, Rachel and Joseph. This placement prioritized his most cherished wife and son, accepting that the least valued members would bear the brunt of Esau's potential wrath. What an amazing journey! How did you score on all 25 questions? Drop your score in the comments below. Thanks for joining us today on Bible Quiz Tube. Subscribe for new Bible quizzes. Stay blessed.